Hi, my name is Autif Kamal. This is my third video on logic and reasoning and my second video on terms. Below you'll find my contact info. You can send any comments, questions, and feedback to kautif@gmail.com. You can do the same live via my Skype user ID, autif.kamal. And you should check out my website, webs.logicandreasoning.com. There you'll find links to my other videos on logic and reasoning, as well as supplementary exercises. You can leave comments and questions for myself as well as other viewers on the forums. You can do so as well via a link to a chat room. You can do that live while watching or while not watching the videos. You'll also find there my office hours, which tell you when I'm available to discuss content live. And you'll also find information on how to earn certificates. Okay, having said that, let's move on to terms. This argument illustrates the value of having more precise terms in arguments. So first premise, all printers need ink. Premise 2, some HP products, as in Hewlett-Packard products, are printers. Conclusion, some HP products need ink. Now here in premise 2 and the conclusion, HP products is relatively more precise than the terms in the next argument. So instead of HP products, we just have products. HP products is more precise because there are much fewer HP products than there are just products. In which case, there's a better chance that the audience knows exactly what you're talking about, assuming that they know what Hewlett-Packard products are. Whereas if you just say products, they don't really have any idea of exactly what you're referring to when you say products. And that's one example to illustrate the value of having precise terms in an argument. In the observe step, I can give you another example. So first, on the left you have three relatively vague terms. You have United States, jump, angry. For United States, you have California, Texas, North Carolina, Alabama. Those are each specific parts of the United States. Now let's use California as another example. Let's say you and your friend live in different states, okay, and you're going to meet up in California for this convention. So you both agree, okay, let's meet up in California for our convention. But then, California's a big place. How do you know where you're both going to meet each other? So then you say, okay, let's both meet in Los Angeles. Okay, that's more specific, narrows down a specific part of California, but that's still pretty vague. And Los Angeles is still a pretty big place. How are you going to find each other? So now you say, okay, let's both meet in downtown Los Angeles. Okay, that's more specific than just Los Angeles. But again, still, downtown Los Angeles is still a pretty big place. How are you both going to find each other? So now you say, okay, let's meet on Wilshire Boulevard. Okay, that's even better. That's a specific street in downtown LA. But still, how are you going to find each other? Because Wilshire Boulevard is a long street. You could be on opposite ends and not find each other. Okay, so now you mention a specific address on Wilshire Boulevard. You say, okay, let's meet on 837 Wilshire Boulevard. Okay, now you have an exact location of where you're going to meet each other. And if you want to go even further than that, you could both agree, okay, let's meet at the front desk at 837 Wilshire Boulevard. Okay, so each time I mention a more specific location, you have a better idea of what I'm referring to, or a better idea of how to figure out where exactly you're both going to be. Okay. Now for jump, you have different ways to jump, like skipping, hopping, galloping, leaping. For angry, you have different ways to be angry. You have annoyed, provoked, frustrated, berserk. Now I can't think of any more ways to make those types of jumping or being angry more specific, other than specifying the circumstances under which they happen, such as the time and date that you skipped, hopped, galloped, leaped, or were annoyed, provoked, frustrated, berserk. or the reasons why it happened. Like, let's say you got annoyed at 5 p.m. because a fly was buzzing around your head. That's more specific than just annoyed, because now I'm specifying the conditions. That's more precise. Okay. Now here's some more examples. You have Canada, walk, and happy for vague terms. I want you to try to think of at least 4 more specific terms for each Canada, walk, and happy. There's a good chance you're not going to get the same more precise terms that I put, just because there's so many terms that could fall under so many precise terms that could fall under each vague term. But just try your best to think of examples that you think parallel how I've been demonstrating to make precise terms. Take a moment to do that. You can pause this video if you think you need more time. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the answers right now. Okay, so for Canada, you have specific parts of Canada, like British Columbia, Quebec, Alberta, Manitoba. For walk, you have different ways to walk, like strutting, marching, trampling, striding. And then you have different ways to be happy, different specific ways to be happy, being overjoyed, pleased, content, perky. And again, just like for jump and angry, you can specify the conditions, like the time and the date, or the reason why you walked in some specific way, or why you were happy for some, or why you were in some specific kind of happy state. Okay, now here's something you can do to extend your practice on your own. You can go to books.google.com. You can look for a book that interests you, that either has a preview available or is free to view. Then I want you to look for words in that book that seem relatively general, and then think of more specific terms that would fall under that category. Try to think of as many as you can, and that will reinforce your ability to both identify more specific terms, and I think also differentiate specific terms that fall under that general term that you would have chosen. Okay? Next up, we'll move on to propositions, because I think I've said what I thought was essential for terms. Below, you'll see components of a categorical proposition. I'll talk about that. At least one of those propositions is true. 2 of them could be true, but only a maximum of 2 could be true at the same time. You'll learn about that later on, maybe not necessarily the next lesson, but definitely later on. You'll learn about also how to make categorical propositions contradict each other, as well as what kind of inferences you can make from one inference being true, or categorical proposition being true. And thank you for watching.